We're three docs talking about the breakdown. Hey everybody, it's great to see you guys here in studio. We're kicking this thing off. Three doctors chopping it up. Principles of health and wellness. We're obviously doing this in the context of the 15-year anniversary of Herbalife 24, the gift that Dr. John Heiss brought to the company. So let's get into it. Dr. Chrissy Ladner, our sports nutrition specialist, Dr. John Heiss, our PhD resident biochemist, and Dr. Luigi Gratton, family medicine specialist. And we're here just talking about stuff on the breakdown. So we're very excited. I thought before we get into topics, because we're going to have a whole series of these podcasts, and we're going to talk about a lot of content. Mm-hmm. But a lot of folks may not know our relatively recent addition to the company. Chrissy, you've been here about a year.
Yeah.
And John, I know we're going to get into some of your history as well, and we'll talk about mine. But Dr. Chrissy, maybe you can kick it off and tell folks, sort of like where you're from, how you got into dietetics, sports nutrition, your passions, your interests, anything you want to share.
Yeah, I would love to. Yeah, so I've been with Herbalife for a little over a year, and I love it. Couldn't be happier. I came from the clinical role, so I was working in a hospital setting with athletes specifically, and then also in the mental health world of nutrition, so like eating disorders, disordered eating, injury recovery, which is really great. That gave me an opportunity to work with all different types of sports because athletes came from all over the world. So I'd always joke that I worked from rugby to fencing to ballet to tennis, and it really gave me a good view of how sport nutrition applies. But I also, fun fact, I didn't go to school for nutrition right away. I actually went to school to be a film director. I wanted to direct music videos.
Should have known you. That's why you're such stage presence. You're so good.
Well, I left for a reason because it wasn't working out. I kind of fell into nutrition. I worked on an ambulance for several years, saw the emergency side of health and wanted to be more on the preventative side. Always been an athlete myself, playing soccer, field hockey, running. And so that just kind of morphed into where I am at now.
Very cool.
Yeah.
I did not know that. I've known you for over a year and learned something new during the podcast. I love it. Oh, thanks. Yeah. Thanks, Doc. What about you, Dr. Heiss? A lot of folks know you around the world, but maybe you could share so for the new folks.
Yeah, cool. Well, I've been at Herbalife for about 15 years now. Came in and I really brought Herbalife 24 to Herbalife. We actually, developed it obviously with the company, but prior to that, I had my own sports nutrition company making a couple of the products, kind of on a small scale. So I had my own company that kind of merged with Herbalife, but then we kind of expanded it and launched this line back in 2010 now. And it was kind of at the time where like Herbalife was starting to sponsor sports teams, but they didn't really have a sports line. There was kind of two products, but there wasn't like a dedicated sports line.
Yeah.
So it's kind of really pushed us to be like a major player in the sports nutrition market. And I think it really kind of kicked off a catalyst to increase sports sponsorship around the world. And they kind of brought in like new distributors and new types of customers. And now it's, a pretty mainstay line within Herbalife that's, I think
amazing.
Well respected by a lot of people.
Yeah.
It's interesting, John, when you first came into the company, I remember you had developed, maybe you could talk a little bit about like your endurance, your background in endurance sport, because I know you were an elite cyclist, and then you developed your own product, you created your own business, and that was primarily an endurance product. Maybe you can touch on that, and then how that evolved into this entire product line of Herbalife 24.
Yeah, it's a good point. I think you tend to see the world through your own experiences, right? So I came from an endurance background, a lot of cycling. And so I think the line started out with an endurance tilt on it. We had a product called Prolong, which was a high carb during exercise drink. We had two recovery options. One of them was like kind of a high carb medium protein, really for endurance athletes. And then we had Rebuild Strength, which is our flagship product in the line. This is a higher protein, lower carb thing. And, as the line went on, we sponsored some endurance races. We sponsored the Leadville 100 for a number of years. Right. Ooh, and what actually gained traction was, and it makes perfect sense, hindsight here, is that people came in for weight loss and they want to lose weight and they're going to the gym. And so we kind of really brought in a lot of gym-based athletes. And at the time, we didn't have a creatine product. We didn't have a pure protein product. So those products were added to the line. We added a BCAA product. We've got 2 protein bars now. And so I think the line has evolved to, meet the types of customers that we have, which really leans more this transition from weight loss into the gym, into like gym performance.
Right.
Yeah.
So we still support, endurance sports. We sponsor Heather Jackson, who actually just finished the Cocodona 250-mile run. So
she completed it. Huh?
I forget her time. It was 60 something hours of nonstop running, which is, I've never stayed awake for that long in my life, let alone running. I ran once for 19 hours, but 60 something is insane. And so I think we'll continue to see the line evolve over time in a number of ways, like more products, more flavors. And then we're going to, science, like we said, is evolving. So we're seeing some new ingredients come into the space. So new ingredients, new clinical studies, so it'll kind of continue to like evolve over time.
Yeah.
Very cool. Love it. There's the evolution of Herbalife 24. Very exciting. And there's more to come, right?
Yeah.
More to come. I mean, we've always got some products that are kind of in the pipeline rolling out. So I don't want to spoil it for the ones that haven't come out. But yeah, I mean, we're always kicking on stuff. So yeah.
Very cool.
Can I say when I was interviewing with you, Luigi, a little over a year ago now, I admittedly wasn't well versed in Herbalife. Of course, I knew about it, global nutrition company, right? And I wasn't aware of the sport nutrition line very in depth. And that's really what sold me on coming here. I was blown away. I was like, wow, this is great. This is everything that I would need to give to an athlete. Of course, the NSF certification, because that's
big on that.
Really big. We need that, especially working with different elite level populations, but also you can give this to anybody. You don't have to be an elite level athlete to be able to take this. I take this. Right. My family takes this, right? Give it to my friends, my mom. So my mom definitely doesn't go to the gym. Love you, Mom, if you're listening, but she walks her dog a lot. But I think that's what's so great about it is it applies to everyone. So you don't have to be this top level athlete, although you could. The same principles are applying to elite level athletes, to everyday people. And then I think that's something cool we can touch on in this podcast.
So great. Fuel is fuel, right?
Fuel is fuel.
So whether you know, at that point.
For like a pro athlete, they've got all the time in the world dedicated to their sport, right? So they finish their training session, they probably get a massage afterwards, they can take a nap, food might be made for them. It's almost easy to recover in a way, but for a person who goes to the gym after work, they have 1 hour, maybe they do that 2 or 3 times a week. They're crunched for time. They actually, they are desperate to get the most out of that 1 hour, the benefits of that 1 hour. And so you would argue they actually really want the best nutrition to maximize those gains. So I think it's interesting. You think pro athlete, but I think just the average person at the gym, they really want to get the best out of their training.
Right. They'll really need great fuel. That's a good point.
Yeah.
I love it. This perspective is amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think, and just to provide some context, and Krissy, you probably already know this, but for the folks tuning in, it's really hard to understand how this company was, and it still is predominantly a weight management company, but we've really shifted. Imagine this big ship in the ocean kind of turning course. We really only do weight loss, and then we start bringing in sports, as John was saying. And there were a lot of folks who just didn't, it's like a new area to explore.
Yeah.
But what's really exciting is that, 15 years, we were doing no sports revenue. And now with the entire line, including Liftoff, it's about $500 million, right, of revenue, easily, when you consider Liftoff and all these amazing products and rebuild strength.
Yeah, I mean, it does a good chunk of sales. It's still relatively small compared to the weight loss category. But I mean, there's people who have built businesses. Yeah. We sponsored some of the biggest teams and athletes around the world.
Well over 100 sponsorships, 120, I think.
So I mean, it's super cool to kind of see it come from basically nothing into the hands of top athletes, like a Cristiano Ronaldo. So
it's very cool. It's great seeing the company go from weight management, blending in sports, and now we're a healthy, active lifestyle company. And now we're moving into all kinds of areas, which we'll talk about in episodes. So I'm been in the company 21 years, just so I can tell you guys. You probably know some of this, but a family medicine doctor. I did so I'm a local guy here in Los Angeles, California. Ran track at UCLA, and I ran cross country. So I was, former athlete. I was pretty good. Couldn't break 4 minutes for the mile, but I could run about 4 minutes and 7 seconds.
Okay.
So that was kind of close, but it was just can't. But there were guys who could break 4 minutes. So always a little bit they're 60 meters away. Anyway, so I was, like you, Krissy, I had other interests outside of medicine. I initially wanted to go into sports physical therapy. I did not want to do medicine. And I met Dr. David Heber, who's chairman of our HNI. And I started doing research with him, and he got me really interested in medicine. He was like, instead of doing physical therapy, you can become a physiatrist. And physiatrists are like physical therapists who are MDs.
Okay.
They do a lot of spinal cord injury, rehab, people who've had traumatic gunshot wounds. And so I was like, you can do that, or you can, go the traditional route. Anyway, that was like my first interest in moving into medicine. Went to medical school in New York, came back for training in family medicine, and then did a fellowship in clinical nutrition. And then a job opened up here at Herbalife 21 years ago.
Okay.
So, so I think we have a rich history of, different doctors here. And I think it's exciting that we're doing that. Now, this is all in the context of really what John brought to the company, the Herbalife 24 line, but obviously the company has just evolved so much. So we talk about the sports line of products, but we really want to talk about the principles of nutrition. We'll talk performance, but also general nutrition.
Yeah.
So what are you guys excited about discussing in this podcast? There's so many different directions we can go.
Yeah, I mean, we're going to cover a lot of topics. I think, we're going to hit the big commonly asked questions, all things protein, all things carbohydrates. I'll probably talk a lot from maybe an endurance athlete focus. That's kind of my background as a cyclist. Did some ultra running, now kind of do a lot of like backcountry skiing and like, mountain adventure stuff. So having on the endurance thing.
Check his Instagram. It's insane.
But I think what we'll try to do is balance that with also resistance training and those kind of guys, just to kind of give a little bit of a dual perspective. Right? So I think, those are kind of the two opposite ends of sports. And then I think we'll try to make it a little bit applicable to, a guy who goes, or a guy or girl who goes to the gym after work for like an hour, just looking to like lose some weight, but also get fit. So I think we'll try to like set things up in that context.
I love that. Kind of average Joe, average Jane.
Average Joe, yeah.
Things that they could take home. What
Thanks
about
for
you?
including the Jane.
Yeah, I know. No, you've trained me well on that. What do you think, Doc?
I think my strength is going to come into the application. We have all this really cool research, I like to say, we can nerd out on, and I know we will. And I also want to make sure that it's, okay, great, that's super interesting. I love that you're breaking it down for us, pun intended. And what do I do? How do I get that in my normal day? If I'm an elite athlete, if I'm a collegiate athlete, if I'm phasing out of being a high-level athlete, or I'm just what we would call maybe a normal person living life with kids and work. How do I still make sure that I'm utilizing performance line and sport nutrition supplements and knowing that you're an athlete even though you may not be competing at a high level?
Totally.
Yeah.
I love that. I think, I'll kind of split the difference with you guys. For me, it's dispelling myths because, as you know, like this is this incredible new platform. Everyone's podcasting. This is the new norm. And there's just so much garbage out there, as you guys know. I'm sure you see, like we've always been a science-backed, evidence-based company. And I think we're going to continue in that tradition by moving into this new venture. So it's exciting for me to just dispel some basic myths because most of the marketing and sales out there is based on what's hot, what's not, what's trending. And people are trying to take advantage of the consumer. And I think we have a real opportunity to just give science, science-backed sort of factual stuff.
Yeah.
Well, I think there's a lot of like misinformation, so consumers are confused. And I think like at a fundamental level, science hasn't changed that much.
That's a good point.
But I think there's some like nuances that have evolved as we've like learned more things. And we'll kind of cover some of these things. Like I think a big one's like the anabolic window, or like you have to get your protein in 30 minutes after a workout. I think that thinking is a little bit passé. So we'll kind of cover some nuance like that. What's constant is like you need protein, you need a good amount of protein. But I think that the exact timing of it, that's changed a little bit. So, I think there's people on the internet and Instagram that have, they've taken such extreme positions where people are like, I thought this was true, but now this is true. And so like, I feel like that there's a confused aspect out there.
Yeah, it is amazing. I think, John, you were saying offline, it's funny, like anyone who eats, I don't want to misquote you, is an expert in nutrition. I eat every day, 3 times a day, 5. So I know what I'm talking about. Like, well, you might not.
Yeah.
So I think, it's good to just give the facts. And what I like from the perspective of both of you, you guys are very like science-based and you want to pull articles. And when we were prepping, you guys pulled a lot of journal articles to back up some of these statements. So that's going to be cool with the podcast.
I like that. I always used to say, because you're saying like if everybody eats, everybody has nutrition advice. I'm like, well, I have teeth, but I'm not going to tell you like how to take care of them or like be your dentist, right? So
that's funny.
Yeah, I do think it's important to celebrate when people are interested in it, because we do all eat. We all do need to apply this to ourselves, and we have to make sure that we recognize our scope and what we're able to provide factual information. Weed out all that noise.
I love it. I do have, as we're going to close this opening episode, I did want to pitch a couple questions to you guys. They're super open-ended. I think for you, Dr. Krissy, I'd love to know, since you're like the clinician in the group, I've seen patients for many years, but in terms of a clinician who's a real coach, and I know John coaches high-level athletes and other folks. I've coached folks, but I feel like you're the real behavior change person, like the one who meets a client halfway and then you kind of get them to their goals. Are there any things that you think we should explore on the podcast in terms of like, when you're working with somebody, how to coach someone, how to get them? It's one thing to deliver information, but it's another thing to sort of like meet someone halfway and coach them along and get them to change, behavior change.
Yeah, absolutely. So I always like to bring up the stages of change, the trans-theoretical model, but really just thinking like, where's somebody at? Do they even know they have a problem? Are they thinking about it? Are they making change? Where's their motivation at? Because I always say you're going to speak to them very differently. If you and I were working on making sure that you ate breakfast, but you didn't even care, that it wasn't even a thought in your head, I wouldn't be shoving a meal plan in your face saying, here's your breakfast. I would be asking you questions about, hey, what do you think it would be like if you had breakfast, right? So you're going to talk to them very differently. And so I think using the information we share on this podcast can be really helpful to bring facts and to help somebody else make those decisions for themselves. That's what's going to create lasting change. And when we're talking about behavior change, it has to come from the individual.
Right.
I think that'll be good. And then empowering them, giving them knowledge. People like facts and they like having this information about how their body works and how nutrition works. So being able to come in with the facts that we share too and say, hey, I heard this about creatine and how much to take and how it supports you, then that can spark some interest in them. So I think that's going to be a good takeaway.
Very cool. Okay.
Yeah.
Now just random questions.
I think that's like a really good point, because if everyone just did the things, right, based on information, everyone would be fit and no one would be overweight and everybody like athletes. And it's
great.
I was talking with my friend yesterday and we kind of had this debate, and it was like, he's like, well, weight loss is simply just eating less and exercising a lot more. And on one hand, you could simplify it to that, but it also, I think, denies the reality of social contexts. Maybe people are super busy. They don't have time to prepare good food. They've got multiple kids. Maybe they're a single parent.
Yeah.
There's financial things. It also denies like what's happening inside their microbiome, because that's really going to influence like how you process calories. And so I think these things are so complex, and just telling someone, eat less, work out this way, like I think the social dynamics have changed, like the stages have changed. That stuff's so important to get into that humanistic aspect.
Yeah.
I think, having a coach that you can work with who understands that, rather than just, here's the information, do it.
Right.
It's just not that simple.
Yeah.
So that's a really good
Understand
point.
you and where you're at.
Totally.
Couldn't agree with you guys more. I mean, the final point I would make on it is just like, I'm a back to basics kind of guy. You guys have known me a long time. You've gotten to know me in the last year. And that's why I think John said offline the other day, you just don't sweat the small stuff, which I love. Like, and a lot of folks will, just focus on the things that we know work. There's a lot of new stuff that's trending, and there's a lot of room for exploration and trying. I see people with weighted vests, and people are cold plunging and red light therapy, and they're trying others. And I love all that stuff if it works for you.
Yeah.
But the basics, like you were just saying, making sure you're conscious of your calories, choosing the right sort of distribution of your nutrients, getting good sleep, physical activity. These are the basics, and most folks don't do those, right? At least in the countries that we get to travel. So I think that's exciting for me.
I mean, I love this topic of like the red light therapy.
Right.
Unless you're sleeping 8 hours a day, you're working out 10 hours a week, you're eating like really perfectly, then okay, fine. If you really want to do one other thing, lay 30 minutes in a red light bed.
Right.
I just think if you're giving up sleep or not working out to do some of these things, which I feel like it falls into the, kind of the miracle pill, the fountain of youth stuff. Like I hope I can literally do nothing and lay in this bed and have it do stuff to me. It's just, the benefit just isn't there.
It's not going to, the benefit won't outweigh the risk. Like I saw some influencer like, I flew 3 hours, I'm jet lagged, but I'm doing my red light mask in my hotel. I'm like, it's not working. It's probably not doing anything.
I Googled red light therapy one time, and I just started getting ads for the plethora of red light therapy things you can get for your eyes, for your feet, for your head, like a hat. So I do think marketing is just shoved out there, and we forget. We see these new shiny objects and we do forget, like, wait, I have the control to eat consistently, to drink, to sleep.
So I think, I mean, that's great. I think we're going to try to dispel some of those myths. We'll focus on the basics. I'm hoping to like cut through the noise. What really is going to move the needle in terms of health and performance, right? And then we'll cover some things that are maybe second tier, third tier like that. But I think hopefully we can put some context to people of where to focus.
Totally. I love it. Yeah. Well, I'm excited to kick this thing off. I think it's great that the three of us get together and chat and hang out. And I'm looking forward to all these interesting topics that we're going to dig into. So thank you, Dr. Krissy Ladner, Dr. John Heiss. I'm Dr. Luigi Gratton. And we are three docs talking, just chopping it up, doing the breakdown. So looking forward to chatting with you guys more.
Yeah.
We're three docs talking about the breakdown.